what it is: sunglasses or protective eyewear. Yeah, see, we have nice. These are some good protective eyewear, or eye pro, as the kids say in the military, with some clear lenses. And as you can see, that has many different color lenses in here, from yellow, amber, red, smoke, reflective. Pretty awesome. Good for the range. It has the lanyard, the neck lanyard as well. Stuff like this is also overlooked often, like this general protective, personal protective equipment, like gloves, glasses. The important, like I mentioned in the video review of Into the Forest, even something as simple as chopping wood, doing any sort of work where there might be, dumping out compost, or, dealing with a composting toilet or human manure or any type of manure where something could splash in your eyes. Stuff like that can be super important. And certainly shooting and doing anything where there's projectiles or debris or shrapnel or anything like that is super important as well. What are you guys talking about? People are goofing off in the comments. Button lamp adhesive LEDs. That's pretty cool. These look like tiny little LED lamps that use like the 2032 batteries, maybe. Yep, CR2032 batteries. And these have individual, you can pop them out individually and then just stick it on somewhere as a tiny little light. As you see, you can post it in. So there's another good thing for maybe a bug out bag or a car kit or something like that. Pretty cool. Downside is obviously those type of batteries are a little bit harder to find. They're pretty ubiquitous as far as the watch style batteries go. You can get them at any Walmart or electronics store or Amazon, but certainly not as ubiquitous as like a AAA or anything like that. So you're not as likely to find them if you, scavenging through a abandoned house or something after an apocalypse, but the weight in space is pretty low. So pretty good. Pretty interesting little button lamp. Very little space taken up. So people have had some how long have you been talking? It shows me, oh shit, it started over. How many people have been watching for more than 2 minutes? Because now it's showing me, it said live for me the whole time, but now it's just saying that it's been going for 2 minutes. So DD Prep, you've been watching for the whole time and it's been working for you? Interesting. Just came on. Wow. Okay. Well, welcome. This is a Battlbox, the outrageous Battlbox live stream. It told me that I've been doing this for 15 minutes maybe. So, okay. Well, I'll start over then. Interesting. Good stuff. All right. So we'll start over. I've already been going through the box. First thing we got out of this box was a Gerber called a flat iron knife. Pretty cool. Eric's sweating. No, I just don't like it when the technology malfunctions on me. This is a really cool sheep's foot, almost straight edge or straight razor type blade design with all metal frame lock, razor sharp. Probably use it like a razor, at least the way it is right now. I don't have a lot of knives that have this type of shape to them and everything, so I'm happy to get that. Pretty stiff frame right now, but those frame locks can start out pretty stiff in the beginning. I prefer liner locks because they're usually a little easier to hit than a frame lock. Next up was another knife. Shaving demo. Yeah, I only need to shave like once every 7 to 8 years, so I'm not going to waste it. Kydex sheath. This is a really cool sleek design, almost like a stiletto shape, but it's still a very thick blade, but kind of a futuristic low profile design. Definitely unique. I like it. And as you can see, we have a fire steel, aka ferrosium rod, on the sheath, which I think is a great thing that a lot of the, or several of the knives from Battlbox have had this. And I think it's a great thing to include because this size or bigger is what you really want. The little ones still work, but those cheap ones that come with the little flimsy pieces of metal to go with it. They're so thin that they can literally chip or break off, and they're just, I don't think there's any reason to go smaller than that on a fire steel, you know, at least 1/4 of an inch or so in diameter. And having it directly attached to your sheath is obviously a huge advantage. Never going to forget it as long as you have your knife with you. Next up were these little adjustable Velcro or hook and pile, or hook and loop as they call it. Hook and loop, hook and pile. Velcro, if you guys don't know, is a brand name similar to Kleenex. How Kleenex is really just a facial tissue and Kleenex is a brand name. Velcro is actually a brand name, and stuff is either called hook and loop or a hook and pile, as they call it in the military. Regardless, these are just adjustable straps which you can use, and stuff like this is useful because if you're in a bug out situation and you get something else that you didn't already have, maybe you find another gun or a log that you need to bring with you or anything, you strap it onto your pack. You can repair some things or hold them together maybe with this, attach a splint or something to someone's arm or leg. All really general purpose uses, and they're very lightweight. They're probably half the weight of this is just the cardboard and plastic, so it doesn't take much to add some of this into your gear without taking up space or weight. Next up, and this, I assumed that this was some kind of eye protection, and I was correct. It's got a nice case in there, and it's a clear lens protective eyewear with what looks to be 4 or 5 different lenses. We have reflective, what looks like a smoke, almost a pink or red, orange or amber, and then yellow. So if nothing else, you have 4 different or 5 different backup lenses to protect you from, you know, if some of these get damaged. And like I mentioned already before this thing cut off, that this is something that's really overlooked. I was talking about it in the video that I did for Into the Forest review, where you're doing things like even chopping wood or shoveling compost or dealing with like sewage and manure and waste where something could splash in your eye, or certainly when you're shooting or doing anything where there's projectiles or debris. It's really useful to have something, and important to have something protecting your eyes, because especially in a shit the fan event where you might not be able to deal with an eye infection or an eye injury at all, or not the way you're supposed to, it would be devastating. And even in a normal day-to-day life, you don't want your eyes to get hurt. How much do these boxes run a month? There are different versions of it. They run from $25 for the basic to 150 for the Pro Plus. So you can go up, you can go to tiers like 25, 50, 100, 150. This is the highest tier. It's usually just the extra knife that makes a difference from the Pro to the Pro Plus, is the one most expensive knife in there. So if you're not as worried about the knives, you could just go with the Pro, but I think they're fantastic. And occasionally, if you get a knife or something similar of the expensive box that you don't like, you could usually probably sell it or trade it to people and make up for that extra $50 to $75 that you paid. No sweat. Another one that, if you guys didn't see the beginning of the box, the first 2 items I got was a Quick Seal wound spray, which is kind of like, appears to be some kind of new skin. It says, shake the can well, spray powder onto the cleansed wound from a distance of 6 inches, cover the area uniformly to form an elastic membrane over the wound. So this is kind of, will probably be useful for things that have kind of a large area wound but not too deep, something like an abrasion or scrape, or obviously minor cuts and things like that, or where you've skinned a knee. If it's super deep or serious, like a bullet or a gash or a puncture wound, I wouldn't recommend something like that. But for something like where it's just hurting or irritating your skin and you need a little protective covering, that could help a lot. And then in addition is a nice little EDC tool, which fits in the tube about the size of a chapstick, not much bigger than that. And it has a pry bar, a knife sharpening flint, a ferrosium rod, and a bottle opener, and a few other little tools that you have on there, you know. So not bad for an EDC pocket organizer, like cutlery lever head. There's a little slide it in there, or for a car kit or a bug out bag as well. And the good thing about these pole style sharpeners like this is you can use them to sharpen serrations as well, because it'll fit into the grooves usually, unless they're very, very small serrations. So I believe most of you guys saw the button LEDs. I think that's what it started on. So the last one that I've already done is this waterproof bag by Lord & Field, which is fantastic. It feels nice and thick. It's a large size. And these waterproof bags I've mentioned before in a video talking about that there's something that a lot of people leave out of their bug out bag is an ability to protect their gear from just even simple rain. And the uses you have for this are endless beyond that too. You could use it as anything that a bucket can do and anything that a normal bag can do. So you can use it for washing your clothes, for collecting water, for collecting, wild edibles, for collecting any extra gear you come across, for you can use it as a flotation device by turning upside down and filling it with air. It'll float. So they have just all sorts of uses. Yeah, I could fit 2 severed heads in here probably at least. So all sorts of uses. We only got a couple things. One thing left in here. This is a pretty good box too. I'm stoked about this one. Check this out. The Corona. I'm sorry. What is it? What is a brand here? Yeah, Corona razor tooth cutting saw. Pretty awesome. These are very useful. It's way easier to use one of these for cutting down moderately sized things than using any sort of chopping device like a machete or anything. And certainly, I'm going to break my computer. Certainly, it's a lot easier to carry, whether in your car, whether you're camping, whether you're bugging out, than a full-size axe or anything like that. So definitely stoked about that. I will hang on to that for sure. Those are very useful. And you can see it has a very aggressive tooth pattern for blazing through some. Yeah, you could shave with this too if you've got some heavy manscaping to take care of. Obviously, just blast through that underbrush. This is what it looks like when it's open. Trim those hedges. I keep a slightly smaller one on each bug out vest. Good deal. Good. You have a smaller one of these and they're good. Yeah, I'm stoked about this. I was watching a video by a Canadian prepper with him having this like $700 mat, like 4-foot one, just blasting through trees, and I would definitely like to have one of those, but it's really expensive, and there's no trees around here anyway. So maybe when I move back to somewhere where there's trees, I can deal with that. But in the meantime, I've got this, and this will deal. I mean, you could get through with a saw this size. You can make pretty quick work of trees and branches, even up to 4, 5, 6 inches in diameter. Anything beyond that is going to take a little work, but you can still do it. Definitely easier most of the time than chopping away at it with anything other than a really serious chopping implement. Waterproof bag is actually a great addition to a bob. Had not considered. Yeah, if you watch my video, I did one about, I think it's one thing most preppers forgot to include in their bug out bag or something like that. And this one is slightly smaller. The reason I mentioned the military ones is because they're a little bit cheaper. They're not quite as heavy duty as this, but they are usually big enough that you can just put it inside your pack and then put everything in there the way you normally would. And then your entire bag is basically waterproofed from the elements, with the exception of the exterior pockets. But I also think it's a great idea to have, even if you're doing that, to still have a smaller, much heavier duty bag like this that you can use for, as a bucket. You can use it for, you can put clothes in here with water and a little bit of detergent and shake it up. Like I said, you can use it to collect berries and leaves and everything else. You can use it to, if you go somewhere and there happens to be some supplies in there, and your pack is full already, you can just whip this out of there and fill it full of stuff as well. I carry a saw for trimming branches for hunting. I saw that video for the big saw. I ain't building a log cabin. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, it's nice if you really need to blast through some stuff. If you've got a cabin in the wood type bug out location or compound, and you really have to have ability to blast through a lot of wood, that's pretty going to be effective, but very expensive. But yeah, this is a good box. I am happy with this one. Happy with the blades, happy with the gear. I don't think there's anything in here that I would, not be interested in keeping. Like I said, I got a pretty solid knife again. Real steel. Interesting. So if you guys have any questions, I have somebody's coming over in half an hour to buy some bench I'm selling on Craigslist. So if you guys have any questions, I got about 20 minutes left that I can do. Make my own moisture absorbers for bags like that. Get the bulk silica beads at a craft store for flour drying and tape them into coffee filter. Yeah, who was it? I think it was the Prepsteaders channel. The woman who runs that made a video pretty recently, a really good video about making your own desk and packs, buying the pure silica cat litter, actually. You can buy a big bag of it that they sell as cat litter, but it's pure silica. And then you can either fold that or staple it into the coffee filters or something similar like that. And it's cheaper than trying to buy your buy them pre-made. Also, you can collect them when they come in any boxes like this. A lot of clothing, shoes, anything you buy on Amazon, a lot of times will have them in it. You can simply kind of recharge them by drying them out in the oven for, you'll have to look up to see what the exact specifications are, but I think if you put them in there for like 275 degrees for an hour or two, it basically drives all the moisture out. Then you can either use them right away, or at that point put them in something air and moisture tight, and then they should be ready to go. Like put them in a jar that you've been saving, and they should be ready to use for quite a while in there. 200 for a few hours. What are we talking about here? Oh, do you have a weekly schedule for when you do these live streams? Not really. I've been doing one every Sunday. The Battlebox is just a general live stream. The Battlebox one I just kind of do whenever I can. Sometimes that's also mixed with the Sunday one. Other times it's just whenever I feel like it. But pretty consistently I've been doing a Sunday evening one. But if you guys have a time that you really, that you just can't make any of the other ones and you really want to get involved with the live stream, shoot me an email, and unless there's some reason why I can't do it, I'll try to do some at some various times to let other people get a piece of the action, so to speak. When are you going to catch and eat a rattlesnake? Well, when I see a rattlesnake, there are some out here, I guess. I have eaten a rattlesnake before, and I have caught rattlesnakes before. I've never eaten one that I've caught, but I've done both, so I think that counts. There were a lot more of them in Florida than I haven't seen very much wildlife out here, even hiking in the canyons and whatnot. I know there are some snakes. I haven't seen any scorpions yet. There are an assload of crickets and cockroaches, which is interesting. But I've seen a lot of little birds, some little ground squirrels, and I think I saw one rabbit. But there's supposed to be some wild burros, even maybe some sheep. Haven't seen any of that yet. Just some, general birds like pigeons and grackles and things like that, and a couple smaller birds out in the parks. But you have to catch it with your teeth or it doesn't count. It would catch me with its teeth is the problem. Still selling eBay. Yeah, I don't have very many things listed right now. I actually let my store subscription lapse because the listings are still up there, but I don't have the store because you have to pay monthly for that. And the amount of things that I have listed in the past couple months has been so low that it's not really worth paying for the subscription. But I'm going to see if I can find more things to list on there. But need a black light for the scorpions. Yeah, maybe to see them. I had in one of the previous Battlbox a few weeks ago, they had some crickets and mealworms in there that were dried out and for snacks, so I ate those. So I could always try some catch some crickets in the apocalypse. Try selling on Gunbroker. Well, I don't want to sell any of my guns. How are you planning on getting water in the desert Vegas when shit hits the fan? I have my main plan is just storing water, supplementing it with rain collection, and there are a few spots of water in the city, and there's a spring. There are some retention ponds. There's some housing developments that have artificial lakes in them. I wouldn't want to go near that stuff unless I had to, because everyone else would as well. But beyond the storage and rain collection, which is there's not much rain. One of the plans I have is to collect water in the neighborhood retention ditch. The whole neighborhood in Florida, there were storm drains everywhere. Here in Vegas, it doesn't rain that much, so they just have the whole neighborhood tilted towards one side, basically, where there's a giant kind of like aqueduct, almost like they have in LA, and everything just runs into that and then goes to the collection point. So I would probably go there, block up the bottom of that. So if there was a pipe leading out of that, if you put some sandbags or even dirt or any sort of debris about halfway up, that whole thing would have to fill with water before any went down the pipe. And the first few rains would probably be mostly oils and things like that and not good water. But if you let the first rain or two go by, if it's a serious shit to fan scenario and people still aren't driving or using the roads, then the next couple would probably be a lot more higher quality water, and you could just go there and collect it. You'd still want to filter it. I'd probably, the problem is with chemicals, it's a lot harder to purify the water because most filters are not made to filter out things like oils and car fluids. And if you do something like a solar still or distillation, a lot of those chemicals have a lower vapor point than water do, so they will boil off or collect before the water even does, and they tend to float at the top of the water a lot of time too. So the best solution would probably be to put it through some sort of physical filter that would hopefully soak up some of the grease, then let the water kind of sit there, and then if you can make some sort of barrel that has a drain in the middle of it, so that the sediment will sink to the bottom, the oils and chemicals will float on top, and then you can try to pull water out of the middle of that and then discard the rest, and you get a better shot at that. But yeah, that's one of my plans. My main plan is just storage though, and I did a video just a few videos ago about the water barrels that I have for storage. I once collected a Death Stalker scorpion with my hands. Sounds awesome. I don't know the different scorpion. I'm guessing it's dangerous if it's called a Death Stalker. Do you have a page on eBay to see your wares? I did. Like I said, I had my store, but it's not active now, so it's just the individual listings. I would have to send you the links for the individual listings. Do you eat bugs? I have eaten bugs, and I would eat bugs if I need to. I don't regularly eat bugs. Lots of survival gear on Gunbroker. Good to know. But most of the stuff I'm selling on eBay is not related to this channel or survival or anything like that. It's just stuff that I've bought at garage sales, estate sales to resell. So it's totally random stuff. It has nothing necessarily to do with, you know, my channel or anything like that, or prepping. Death Stalker has a good chance of killing most people with a single sting. Interesting. Well, I'm glad it worked out for you. Should have eaten it too to show it who's boss. There's a lot of water in the desert. You just have to know where. Really big underground rivers here. Sure, this isn't something that you can always necessarily get to. There's water everywhere if you know how to get to it. But when everyone is trying to get to it at the same time, getting the water isn't even necessarily going to be your biggest problem. It's dealing with all the other people too in the same places. So I think storage is probably the best bet and covers the, you know, if it got to where I would need to start digging and going into these natural springs, we're talking about a pretty serious shit the van event that likely would have resulted in most people probably dying off because there's almost no water here. So people who didn't have water stored would not be doing well after the first 3 or 4 months. Yeah, fat people have a lot of water in them. Take their water like in Dune. Yeah, just suck it right out of them. Grub paste, huh? Nice. I do not have an underground bunker. Maybe one day. But I rent this place, so I can't go digging in the ground. Eric is the Cuisinart hacky sack. I don't know what that means. This night, fat people need to be loved too. Lake Mead. I mean, yeah, there's Lake Mead. That's pretty far away from me. It's 45 minutes driving. But yeah, that's where all the water for the city officially comes from. You should make one with shipping containers. Yeah, I'd like to one day, but I would need somewhere where I could actually own the property and actually be allowed. I mean, I'm in a even if I own this property, there's no location, or I wouldn't be allowed to legally dig and make a giant shipping container bunker, but it would be fun. And I would love to have one of those one day. Maybe if one of my business ventures takes off and I get independently wealthy, I will do something like that. But in the meantime, it's not really on the horizon to make a high-speed bunker. You know, they're going to make a, apparently going to make a Dune remake again, another Dune remake. That's what I've heard. I don't know if it's going to be a movie or a Netflix series or what, but there's been some talk about that. I forget who is supposed to be making it, but that's what I've heard. Remake. It's like 3 years away. Yeah, because they did the original, or the one with Sting and all that back in the day, and then they did the mini series a while later, and now they're making another one within a few years, I guess. Real bunkers cost $100. Well, it depends on what you mean by real bunkers. You know, you could, like you were talking about, you could make one with shipping containers, and if you want to, you know, just like anything else, you can make one for a pretty significant one for a few $1,000. If you do a lot of the work yourself and everything, you could certainly make a decent one for 10K or something. So it just depends on what you're paying for and what features you want and all that stuff. Everything from just a simple like storm shelter type operation all the way up to, you know, a nuclear shelter with shielding and air filtration and septic system built in and all sorts of stuff like that. Right. Yeah, like a deep basement, like a storm shelter like that. It's going to make a big difference even in something like a nuclear event. Even if you don't have a full-on bunker, just being able to get below ground and have some extra shielding would make a big difference. I'm gonna have to take off in a few minutes, guys. Probably 5 more minutes. So I gotta sell some Craigslist crap. But let me know if you have any more last-minute questions. Definitely check out Battlebox. Great for Christmas gifts for people that they're into that stuff. Different levels you can buy to pay for, and you can do one-off purchases. You don't have to do the whole year subscription or whatever at once. So you get all sorts of cool stuff. There's only been 1 or 2 battle boxes that I was just like, about. Most of them I really, really liked. And even the ones that I wasn't super stoked about, they still were full of a lot of useful gear. So what am I selling? Anything. I just buy anything that I think I can resell for a profit. Oh, today I'm selling a workout bench. A bench, yeah, not a desk. Which box was that? Which one? The one that I was just like, about? I don't remember specifically. I just remember that there was some that I was like, okay. Nothing that I didn't like, just some that weren't as, sexy as the others, so to speak. Strap on a pistol for Craigslist. Think I meet Craigslist people naked? You got another thing coming. I usually I always at least have a knife on me, but I'm not worried about it. See you later, William. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I don't get assaulted. Sunday special. Do you have a home gun? I have lots of home guns. All my guns are home guns. If you mean like a home defense gun, then other than things like the SKS and the bolt action Remington or my 1022s, stuff like that, I kind of cycle through either the shotgun or all my various handguns to have my nightstand gun. Or usually if I'm up and about, I have the AR-15 ready to go, locked and loaded, in case someone broke in and tried to get fresh. Gym for the gains. Got to get those gains. Speaking of which, I need to work out after I sell this stuff on Craigslist. It's that time. Got a nice home gym. What's up, Purity White Cloud? Thanks for stopping in. Do you ever get the little shotgun? Not yet. I really want to, though. The Mossberg Shockwave, I think it's called, the non-NFA. I'm playing a poker tournament here coming up, and if I do well in it, I'm going to buy that for myself. Because they're not that expensive. They're less than $400. Yeah, so for my home defense gun, I just usually use any of my various handguns, either this Taurus PT709 Slim or my Kimber Ultra Carry, or either of my Rugers, my 9mm, or the P90 45, or all sorts, or just a 12 gauge. But usually a handgun sitting by my bedside. I'm selling the bench because I have another one. I got a new one because this one is a little too high off the ground. I actually have 3 benches right now because I have a flat bench, I have my incline bench, and then I bought another incline bench that is a little more, I just like the size better, so I'm selling this one. Me too, man. I hope I do well in the poker game too. Thanks for the kind support. It's on Saturday, so you can send positive vibes. Send thoughts and prayers. Heavier bench now. No, actually, the new one is lighter and cheaper technically than the one, and like slightly lower quality, but it's just a better size. And I use the flat bench for most things, unless I actually need the incline. But some I do. So. But yeah. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I got another movie review video. I've already watched the movie. It is called The Blackout, I think. Fairly low budget movie, but pretty good for doing these reviews. What you leg press, bro? I don't have a leg press machine. I used to be able to do a lot on the leg press machine. I don't do enough legs, man. I do mostly bench. My squat is like the same as my bench. But I'm going to be working on that more in the coming months because I have been slacking on my squats, man. It's a vicious cycle. Like, I don't do them as much, and so then you get weaker, so then you don't want to do them. So you know what I mean? So yeah, Canadian Prepper's sword is too expensive. But what he did just post, because I've always really liked the bug out rolls, but because I actually had come up with something in my head. Never actually put anything down or made it, but I wanted to, because every time I go camping, I wanted something to be able to hang like that and have it roll out exactly like his bug out rolls. But I was thinking of incorporating it into a backpack or something somehow. And he just made a cheaper version that's about $100 now, which is a little bit expensive because he didn't get them made in China or anything like that, which is probably good long term. But I do like that, and I'm gonna try and pick one of those up because I think it's a really useful setup for being able to get into your gear quickly, see it all there at once, and get this, a little bit of that, put it back, and without having to dig through a pack, and then you can just roll it up and go. So the movie Blackout, the platform, I believe it was on Amazon Prime, which means even if you don't have Prime, you can pay to watch it. I think it's free if you have Prime. Okay, Blackout wasn't bad. You should get out of town and play poker at Stagecoach up here. More Wild Westy than most. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. I haven't spent much time outside in the area outside of Vegas. You know, I haven't spent much time in California and pretty much anywhere else in Nevada. I spent a little bit of time in Phoenix and had one trip to Albuquerque, but like that's it, man. So I have a lot of exploring to do all around in every direction pretty much. So I'll definitely have to check it out. The Wild West stuff up there would be nice. You could even wear your guns if you want. In Nevada, you got open carry, so pretty cool. And last minute stuff, guys, I'm going to take off here in a minute. Sell my wares on Craigslist. Thanks for watching. Sign up for the email list on my website. Check out, I'm going to be posting more on the website and the Twitter in the future is my plan, and do some giveaways, t-shirt. I'm starting some t-shirts, should have some t-shirts up on Teespring within the next next couple weeks, let's say. And should be some funny prepping related stuff. So thanks for watching, guys. Thank you. And I'll talk to you guys later.